Thank you for your interest in our presentation titled Generalized Additive Mixed Modeling of EEG Supports Dual Root Account of Morphosyntax in Finding No Word Frequency Effects on Grammar Processing. My name is David Abugaber, and I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Illinois at Chicago. A critical part of language comprehension is processing of inflected forms. For instance, the difference between eat and eats in a sentence like they eat versus they eats. The single root model says that processing of inflected forms is driven by associative memory-based storage. By contrast, the dual root model says that rule-governed composition is a possible alternative to retrieval of stored forms. The single root and dual root accounts differ in their prediction of whether word frequency affects grammar processing. The single root model says that frequency does have an effect because the higher the frequency, the stronger the stored representation. By contrast, the dual root model says that frequency does not necessarily affect processing because the compositional rule would apply equally to all forms. Prior studies using behavioral methodologies have found mixed results regarding the effects of frequency on grammar processing. To our knowledge, only one study has examined this issue using electroencephalography, or EEG, which measures brain activity on an extremely fast timescale and has been shown to capture effects not apparent through behavioral methods alone. In this prior study, Allen and colleagues recorded EEGs during sentence reading where grammatical violations occurred in either low frequency or high frequency words. For instance, the man will worked on the platform has a violation on a high frequency word. The man will swayed on the platform has a violation on a low frequency word. Allen and colleagues reported no interaction between word frequency and word grammaticality in sentence reading, supporting the dual root account of morphosyntax. However, their event-related potential analysis has several limitations. First, it assumes that the time course of word processing is identical across words and across individuals, which prior work suggests is not the case. This is a problem because smearing of the EEG signal across participants or across trials can reduce the chance of detecting an effect. Secondly, dichotomizing the word stimuli into low and high frequency bins and then averaging EEG amplitudes within time windows and across trials leads to reduced statistical power for finding an interaction effect. We aim to overcome these issues using generalized additive mixed modeling, which can identify patterns over dynamically varying data and does not require aggregating data or comparing only fixed time points. Furthermore, it allows us to account for variability at the level of participants and experimental items. So, we use GAMMs to extend Allen and colleagues 2003, asking, does word frequency interact with EEG responses to grammatical violations on regular morphosyntactic inflections? We ultimately analyzed 51 participants with the characteristics shown here. Our experimental sentences featured a number mismatch in a noun phrase, for instance, a cookies instead of a cookie. Critical word frequencies were extracted from the British National Corpus, as shown here. This slide gives more information regarding our EEG recording and pre-processing procedure. For our analysis, we followed the GAMM approach from Wheeling 2018 as described on this slide. Critically, we test whether the GAMM model is significantly improved when adding a term that captures the interaction of word frequency and word grammaticality. This slide gives a more detailed description of the models that we fit, as well as the formula syntax used to fit them. Visual inspection of the ERPs suggests that the grammatical and violation conditions pattern together regardless of word frequency, as we can see by the fact that the ungrammatical waveforms in red show sustained positivities relative to the grammatical waveforms in black. This suggests no significant grammaticality by frequency interaction. However, more importantly for our main research question, we turn now to our more refined GAMM analysis, where we found no significant improvement to the model when the frequency by grammaticality interaction term is added. This supports the dual root account of morphosyntax, which posits that rule-based composition is a possible alternative to storage-based retrieval. In sum, we sought to determine whether word frequency affects EEG responses to morphosyntactic violations in regular inflections, where the single root model would predict yes and the dual root model would predict no. We used generalized additive mixed modeling to extend Allen and colleagues 2003 by avoiding statistical and theoretical issues with the ERP approach. And we found that inclusion of the grammaticality by frequency term did not improve model fit significantly, supporting the dual root model and suggesting that rule-based composition is a possible alternative to storage-based retrieval in morphosyntax processing. Thank you.